Welcome to Eerie Bites of History, your daily serving of strange bites of the past. Today, we have a fire that leveled a city, a kingdom that changed forever, and a star that burned its name into history, all of which happened on October 8th. Let's begin. On October 8th, 1871, in the city of Chicago, at around 9 p.m. in a small barn on DeKoven Street, owned by Patrick and Catherine O'Leary, erupted into flames. What started as a flicker of light became a storm of fire. The summer had been mercilessly dry, and the city, built almost entirely of wood. Even the sidewalks burned like kindling. Within hours, the flame leapt from building to building, devouring entire blocks as if guided by something alive. Legend and folklore say a cow kicked over a lantern that night, a simple accident that destroyed a city, but no one ever proved if that story was true. In fact, investigators never discovered how the fire truly began. Some whispered it wasn't an accident at all, that something darker was in play. By dawn, Chicago's skyline was an ocean of fire. Churches collapsed, the courthouse tower melted, and thousands fled into the safety of the cold waters of Lake Michigan. When the flame finally died 3 days later, more than 17,000 buildings were gone. 300 people were dead, and a city was reduced to ash. But perhaps the strangest part of all, on that same very night, in the far north Wisconsin, another blaze, the Pleshico fire, erupted, killing thousands more. 2 infernos, one night. Was it a coincidence? Or was there something in the wind that October night? So was the great city of Chicago decimated by a cow? Either way, that barn fire proved just how fragile a city can be. On October 8, 1840, in the royal palace of Honolulu, King Kamehameha III gathered his council. Their voices hushed and their expressions grave. For generations, the island had been ruled by blood, custom, and the words of chiefs. But now, something new was being born, a written constitution, the first in the history of Hawaii. For many, it was a symbol of progress, a merging of ancient rule with the Western world ideas of law. But to others, it felt unsettling. The old spirits of the island had guided their people for centuries. Now, foreign advisors whispered in the king's ear, urging him to a different kind of order. One not carved in stone or story, but in ink and parchment. As the king's pen traced his name across the document, something intangible shifted. A nation that had once spoken through its elders now spoke through the written word that could be interpreted, twisted, and one day taken away. That night, the Kingdom of Hawaii became the first Pacific nation to draft its own constitution, but it also marked the beginning of a slow erosion of sovereignty, tradition, and of power. Though the ink has long since faded, some say the island still whispers of that night, when Hawaii traded the voices of its ancestors for the language of the West. Hawaii embraced the modern world, a promise meant to protect the kingdom, but it ended up rewriting it instead. On October 8, 1604, a strange light appeared in the night sky over Europe. At first, people thought it was a star, brilliant, beautiful, and impossibly bright. But within hours, whispers spread through the towns and villages. Something was wrong. People said that star hadn't been there the night before, and in the days that followed, the light only grew stronger, outshining every other star, even rivaling the planet Jupiter. Travelers claimed they could read letters by its glow, and some said it was an omen, a divine warning. Others, the sign of the end of days. The man who studied it, astronomer Johannes Kepler. He watched it night after night, sketching its brightness, the colors, and its slow, steady fade. To him, it wasn't a miracle, it was a mystery, one that defined everything the church and the scholars believed about the heavens. According to the old world, the stars were eternal, perfect, unchanging. But this new star, as it was called, shattered that belief, something massive, something violent, as if it had torn apart the depths of the cosmos. Today, it's known as Kepler's Supernova, the last explosion of its kind ever seen with the naked eye in our galaxy. A dying star's final scream, frozen in time across 4 centuries. And somewhere, far beyond reach of telescopes, its ghostly light still traveling through the dark, reminding us that even the stars we trust to guide us can vanish without warning. I like that Kepler questioned everything. Imagine realizing the heavens aren't perfect. They're fragile, just like us. That must have been terrifying, and at the same time, kind of thrilling. Like your history snack-sized? Drop us a comment with your favorite bite and subscribe. Join us daily for your eerie dose of the past.